So, Kal Kadosh, Masechet Yevamot Daf Zayin Amud Aleph 1:16a1. Imagine right now a person came, and this is what Abaye comes and he says that there's no proof to that which we said. Why? If a person comes and he has a shtar chov, a debt document in Mechuza, so because of that, we're going to say that we're not going to say that there's another shtar chov, even if there's another person that has the same name or not. So what are we going to suspect? If we're going to suspect that maybe this document fell from one person, right, and then somebody else is going to pick it up and use it, Nizar Zayed, you're going to be very careful. You know what it is? You know what a debt document is? A debt document is like a check. Somebody gives you a check. You're going to be careful with the check. Somebody gives you money, right? It's money. You're going to be careful. Fine. Ile pikadon. If it's going to be for a pikadon is like a guarantee, like collateral, right? They give you something to watch over. So he says, so Kevin Dishmek, since they have the same name, nobody's going to give it to him. Why? Because maybe he's going to pick it up, and then all of a sudden now you switch people, so you're not going to use it either. So Maya Marta, what did he say? Dilma Masale, right? Otiot, maybe he gave him, right? Even for this, we're not going to suspect. Why? That maybe Masale, maybe he gave it over to him. He says Otiot niknem misira, which means when you come and you give over a shtar from the Malvel Yara Kone, you acquire, right? You acquire it. So therefore, we're going to say from here that B'derech Klal, that's what we're saying. We are suspecting for another person with the same name, but there's no nafkamina. So therefore, we're saying now over here, right? What does this mean now that Rabbi Baravua is coming and saying that we're going to have the chov to Masechta Shtarot? So he comes and he says like this. Says the Gemara, Hahu Gita. There was a get. Yeah, the Ishtakach Besura that was found in Syria. So there was a get that was found in Syria. And it was written like this. Besura Mata, in the city of Surah. Ana, I, yeah, he comes and he says, I, Anan Barhia min Neharda. Anan Barhia from Neharda. Patrit vetarachit plonit intati. I exempted and I divorced my wife, Plonit. So that's what he's saying. He's saying his name is Anan Barhia from the city of Nanda. He's coming and he's divorcing his wife. That, by the way, is the lashon of the get. The language used in the get is that he's exempting her, right? Lefaterota. What's lefaterota? When you have somebody that you have as an employee, you're firing them, right? So that's a literal translation. It's not really firing. It's you're exactly. You're giving them the slip. Yeah, the big slip. They're gone, right? So petarechit plonit entity. Ubatkura banan. So the rabbis checked. Misura ve'ad Neharda, from Surah until Neharda, ve'lo haba Anan Barchia Charina. There was no other Anan Barchia levar Manachim beChagra, except for Anan Barchia from Chagra. To have a Neharda that now he was living in Neharda. Ve'atu Sade, and witnesses came, right? Ve'amur, and they said Ve'ahu Yoma ki ikata v'gita, from that day that they came, they wrote that get Anan Barchia miChagra Gabanava. Anan Barchia from Chagra was also there in Neharda. So now all of a sudden, and not in Surah, where they were writing the get. So Amar Abaye says, even according to my shita, that I'm going to say that Chayshina, that we are going to suspect to another person with the same name. Hach over here, like Chayshina, we're not going to suspect for another person with the same name. Because the witnesses say, they were in Neharda. My Bible Surah. So what were you doing then in Surah on that day? Which means we're not going to suspect that maybe in the same day they went from Neharda to Surah, because it's very far away. So if it's very far away, what's going on? So we're not going to say, right, that we're going to suspect to Anan Barchia, right, a third Anan Barchia that we don't even know about it. So therefore, just like the case of Yitzchak Resh Kaluta. So Amar Rabba comes and said, no, Afle Didi, even to me, the lo Chayshina, and we're not going to suspect for another person with the same name. Hacha here, Chayshina, we do suspect for a person with the same name. Why? Dilma begamla parcha ve'azan. Maybe he went on a gamal. He went very, very quick. Yeah, he went very, very quick. Yeah. Dilma begamla parcha azan. Maybe he went on a gamal and they went very, very quickly, which means in the olden days they didn't have supersonic jets and all these things. So they went on a gamal. For them, the gamal was the quickest form of medium of travel. Right? Inabi, or you could say the kfitza. He said the name of Hashem, kfitzat haderech. You like that, no? We love that. Imagine right now. Kfitzat haderech, boom, we're in Israel. Yeah. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars for flights, no nothing. Your luggages don't get lost. You take a luggage in your hand, say the name of Hashem, boom, you're already there. Yeah, that's it. Inami, or another explanation. Mile masa, right? You come and you give over words, right? Just like Rav said to the Sofrim. When you guys are in the city of Chili and you're writing a get, ketovu b'Chili, write in Chili. Even though you were given the words in Ini, which means like this. Imagine right now the husband comes and he says, write a get for my wife in Hini. He's in Hini. But they're writing the get in Chili, not in Hini. So what are you supposed to write in get? Hini or Chili? So wherever you're writing the get. Wherever you're writing it. Not where he told you. No. That's what he's saying. Not the place. I mean, even though he went and he gave him, he told them to do it in Hini. So he comes and he says, write a get for the wife. But where are they writing it? They're writing it in Chili. So they have to write it in Chili, not in Hini. Okay?
Where is she?
No, where they're writing it. Where they're actually writing it. With the actual writing of the get. No, not where he is, because he gave over the thing in Hini. Right? In
Where they
Chili.
actually write things again.
That's where the yeah. Ketovu behini. He says, ki itznichu behini, ketovu behini, even though they told you in Chile. Okay? My havalayu the shumshim. So now 1 second. We stop and we're going back to the shumshim. Remember, what happened to the shumshim? The question is that I went and I brought Ronen Michael shumshimim and he put them inside of his cup. Here's the shumshimim. He put them inside. And all of a sudden I come and said, give them back to me. I said, no, no, yours, you already took them back. These are mine. I switched them. These are already mine. It's not yours. So what's halacha? So says halacha. We don't suspect that really be'emet he took it out and therefore he's obligated to give him back. Ravina says chashina no. We suspect maybe he emptied it out and therefore there is, and therefore he gets it. So there's machloket. Vehilchata, what's halacha though? Chashina, we're going to suspect that maybe be'emet he took them out like Rava, and therefore these are belong to him. So I don't get them back. That's halacha. Okay, next, 2 dots. The Mishnah said, what happens right now if there was a fight between a husband and a wife? So imagine the husband and wife are fighting, cats and dogs. Huh? Yeah, exactly. So there's fighting between the husband and the wife. And all of a sudden she comes back and she says, the husband's dead. Right? And she's pretending to cry. You can see Kilu. Yeah? Yeah, she's pretending. Right? But they were fighting all the time. So what happens? What is the case of Ktata beno levena? They were fighting that she tells her husband, divorce me. Meaning, if the wife tells the husband, divorce me, that's called a fight. If they're just arguing petty fights, like that, that's not a fight. A real fight between the husband and the wife is only if she tells him, divorce me. That's called a fight. That's what it says. Okay? Fine. So says the Gemara, yeah, everybody says that. What does that mean? Right, that's called a fight. Everyone tells their husbands that. Yeah? They're not listening. Okay. Fine. So he says, Ela barada, ve'omer leba'ala, right? Gerashtani kvar. He already divorced her. Right? Which means, right? Usually, right? What? No. She doesn't have the audacity to tell her husband that you divorced me. A woman does not have the audacity to come to her husband and say, you divorced me already if he didn't divorce me. Yeah, she doesn't have that audacity. So it says, Bilimne. So we should believe her. She said that she's divorced. Midra Vamnuna. The Amad of Amuna says, Isha Shara Bala Gerashtani Ne'emenet. Chazaka Shenisha Minza Panea Bifne Bala. There's a chazaka that a woman does not have the audacity to tell in front of her husband that you already divorced. What? Yeah, no, there's a certain, you know what it is, that she's gonna face to face. You understand? Like she's gonna say that you divorced me and it wasn't true. She doesn't have that. They say in Spanish, cara dura, that hard face. She doesn't have the audacity. She doesn't have the cheeky. So therefore, she's believed. If a woman comes to Medina and she says that, she's believed. So says the Gemara, no. What are we talking about in the Mishnah? באומרת גירשתני בפני פלוני ופלוני ושהיינה ואמרו לא היו דברים מעולם. Says, no, what was the fight that we were talking about? A woman comes and says to her husband, you divorced me in front of so and so and so and so, two different people. And then we ask them, and they say lahadam. You know what lahadam means? Lo hayu devarim meolam. Lahadam. Lahadam is Masechet Yevamot Daf, acronym, right? Lo hayu devarim meolam. Never happened, never existed. Lo hayu devarim meolam. Yeah. So therefore, they're saying from here that a woman, right, that it's going to happen something like this, right, that they have to actually testify, right? This is what we're talking about. So what's the reasoning then of the fight? Because she hates her husband so much, she'll lie in order to prohibit herself from her husband. You understood? I mean, she hates him so much. She's able to say that she hates him. So she hates him too much, she'll lie. 100%. Yeah, Rav Shimi Barashi Amar, Mishum Damra Bidame. Yeah, he says, Rav Shimi Barashi comes and he says, the Amra Bidame. What is Bidame? You remember we kept on saying, she's going to think that he already dropped dead. Hey, she already hates him. She's like, yo, she wishes it so much that she saw he already, Kilu, that's it. Understand? My Benai, what's the difference between them? Says, Kuftet Zainam Bet. When the husband started the fight, who usually picks the fight, the husband or the wife? Woman. Huh? You agree? Huh? The woman. One second. It's called.
No woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Therefore, since he's the one that's starting the fight, that's going to be the difference between them. Next question. What happens if an Ed Echad is testifying on the death of a person that he was fighting with his wife? What's the halacha? Is she now permitted to get married or not? Do we say that one witness is believed usually because it's the Nita David because we can find out whether he's telling the truth or not, and therefore lo mishakeh, he's not going to lie. But achanami so to here lo mishakeh. Also in the mitzvah of tata between the husband and the wife, the ed is not going to lie. Or Dilma, maybe we're going to say maybe the echad is going to be believed mishum dehidai kal mitzvah because she's looking into it to get married. But now since there's a fight, lo dai kal mitzvah. If she's in a fight with her husband, you think she's going to look into it to get married or not? She doesn't care about the husband. She'll big deal. She'll get married to somebody else. Teiku. We don't have an answer. Next part of the Gemara. Yeah, next part of the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda says, Le'olam ena ne'emenet. A woman is not going to be believed unless she comes crying. She has to come crying and her torn clothing. What does that mean? She has to make the show at least. If she's going to come, right? If she's going to come and she's not going to have, right, the crying, so what? Really, the husband died. She's having a simcha. Well, the husband died. So she has to come crying with her clothing torn, and then we're going to believe. Because if not, we're not going to believe her to say that the husband died. So Tanya, we need to write Amrulo, told you that according to your words, Pikacha tinase, shota lo tinase. Only a woman that she's 100% normal. So she should get married. Shota should never get married, right? Why? Right? Because obviously, shota is shota. So he says, it doesn't matter what it is. Whether they're showing simanei avelut or not, they're allowed to get married. There was a woman that came to Medina, right? The Rabbi Yehuda. Amra. She went and she said, Amrila, we told her, Sivdi balech, kiri manech. He says, what? Do eulogize your husband. Tear your clothing, right? Open your hand. I want, a little bit of a, right? Alfu ashikra, ask the Gemara what? They're teaching her how to lie. They're teaching, like, what are you trying to do? I'm saying the fact that she wasn't doing it until now, that's already a big siman. There's, there's monkey business here. You understand? This woman is a little bit, she's fooling around. So says the Gemara, inu krabanan, not the only krabanan. Say, no, they're teaching her that in order to permit it. Meaning they were doing it purposely, right? In order that even without the simanim of Avlut, they're still going to do it. But they did it all in order for what? To teach her so that way she could get married again. We're on the Mishnah. Capish? Mishnah, Kuf Tetzayim Ubet, 117b. Yeah? Sorry, 116. Bet Hillel Omrim, Bet Hillel says, Lo Shamanu, we did not hear that the Chachamim instituted for a woman to get married through her own testimony, Ela Beba'am Min HaKatzir. Only if she's coming and she's testifying that the husband died, and the place that he died was Be'ota Medina, in the same country. And like the story that happened. So Bet Shammai said, doesn't matter whether she's coming from the reaping, from the olives, from the batzid, from the harvesting, right? What is the difference between katzir, zaitin, and batzid? It's katzir. It's katzir. Batzid is anavim. It's the same language. It's but of grapes, right? But that means you're reaping grapes, meaning that in Hebrew there's a different word for each synonym of each one. Meaning when you're reaping the grapes, it's called betzira, botzer. When you're mosek zetim is mistika, mosek zetim. You're kotzer chitim. Each one is the same thing, harvesting, but each one has a different word in the Hebrew language. She's coming from one country to another country. Just spoke about the normal case. Chazru Bet Hillel, and they passed like Bet Shammai. Bet Hillel retracted like Bet Shammai. It doesn't matter when she's coming, she's allowed to come and testify. So Tanya, we learned to write down Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. So Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel, according to your words, Eli ela katzir chitim, not only in the katzir chitim. What about katzir sodi? Remember, one is reaping wheat, one is reaping barley. Minayin, how do we know? Eli ela kotzer, that's only kotzer, which is wheat, right? Or different grains. Botzer, which is grapes. Mosek, which is olives. Goder, which is tamarim, dates. Oder, which is te'anim, figs. Minayin, how do you know? So here we just put down all the other ones. You saw? Each one of them is a synonym for how you take down the fruits. Yeah? Ela Masechet Yevamot Daf, the story was the katzir. Oziel and the same halacha applied to everything. Achanami, so to here, the Masechet Yevamot was in the Be'ota Medina. Oziel and the same halacha applied to everything. So Bet Hillel, according to Bet Hillel, Be'ota Medina, in the same country, the shchiche inshe, the people are found, mirtat, she's afraid. Meaning, if she's coming from the same country and testifying that the husband died, she's afraid to lie. Why? Because he could be all around here, right? And all of a sudden, people could come in and say, "What are you talking about? I just saw him yesterday. What are you talking about? You're lying about your husband." So therefore, she's afraid to start coming and testifying. But if it's going to be from one country to another, the people are not coming back and forth. Lo means that she's not afraid. But according to Bet Shammai, no, there's still people that come in and out. Why? There's the wagons and people are coming. You have to be very, very careful. Okay? My Masechet Yevamot, what was the story? The Amar of Yehuda Amar Shmuel, it says Shmuel, Shilpe, right? The end of the Ketzir Chitin Ayu, right? 10 people went out to reap their grain. A snake came, bit one of them, right? And he killed him. So the woman came, told Betin. So they found out exactly what happened. Therefore, they went and said, if a woman comes, she says the husband died, Tina says she could get married. And if she said that the husband died, she could do Yibum. So why don't we just say that Rav Chanan ibn Akiva and Rabbanan, they proved that the Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel can be palges, the same achok, between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. The Tanya was learned to the Braita. Lo, because why don't we just say that it's the same achok between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel? Lo yisada min al-chatat be'efer chatat, because we learned to the Braita, a person should not come and get married, right, with the efer paraduma, right? Here it says over here, or that means you shouldn't carry it with him. The mechatat or and take it whether it's going to be in the yaden or the sfina. You shouldn't throw it from one part of the river to another part of the river. Where you shouldn't come and you shouldn't put it into a kli, right? A utensil which is going to be on top of the water. And he's not going to put it, right, where? On top of an animal, his friend, unless he's going to be touching the ground. Aval ma'avinam ala gesher, but he could put them on top of a gesher, which is a bridge. Echad Yarden, Echad Shar Nerot. Doesn't matter whether it's the Jordan River or other Nerot. Says, Lo amru ela Yarden u'Sina u'Masechta Shaya. We're talking about only the Yarden, Sinan, like the story that we talked about. So Neymar Rabbanan, why don't we just say that the Rabbanan are coming and saying that they're saying like Bet Shammai? Rabbi Chanina ben Akiva says like Bet Hillel. So he says, Rabbanan is going to teach you. We are going to say even like Bet Hillel. What are we talking about Bet Hillel over there? Because he's afraid. Only if they're very, very close, they're afraid of what's going on. But if it's very far away, they're not afraid. So what do I care then about the Jordan River and any other river? So it says, I couldn't say according to Bet Shammai. When is Bet Shammai saying over there, why was she checking it out? And she wants to get married. So what do I care then if it's karov, rachok, if it's close by, far away? But here, it's a story. So then they testified. Right? They made a gezerah, but it wasn't like the story, so they didn't make any gezerah. My Masechet Yevamot Daf says there was a story. The person who was carrying the waters of the chatat or the ashes of the chatat in the Jordan River in a boat, and they found the kasayim amet inside the bottom of the hull of the boat, and therefore, and they said a person should never carry it in a boat because then everything becomes disqualified. So therefore, it's going to become problematic. Says the Mishnah, and with this Mishnah we're going to finish. The Mishnah says, Bet Shammai says, a woman that testifies that her husband died, she could get married to somebody else and she could take the ketubah from the husband, the first husband. That Hillel says, no, she gets married, but she cannot take the ketubah yet. Because since we didn't 100% believe her yet, we permitted her only to get married, but not to take the ketubah. Yeah, Bet Shammai. What's more strict, right? Immoral relations or money? Obviously, more relations. So how could it be that you're going to believe him that she could get married to another man, but you're not going to believe him on money, which is nothing? What do you care? We find that the brothers are not going to go to Nachla only through her mouth. So said Betty, what does that mean? That means basically, for sure, even after Taknach Chamina, we permit her to get married, we're not going to believe her on the death, because then the brothers are going to come, they're going to inherit. And you guys also admit that. So therefore, we're not going to believe her to do with money. So says Bet Shammai, mispar ketubah nilmod, but from the nusach of the ketubah, you can learn, he writes to her. The second that she gets married to somebody else, take whatever that's written to you. Right? The Chazur Bet Hillel, or not, then Bet Hillel, they retract it and you go. No. Here